Welcome back, creatives, to another episode of Almost Creative. Wait, is that the name of the podcast?
Yep.
Beautiful. We are sitting down with Travis Heberling. Did I say that right?
You did?
He is our host for the episode. I just wanted to introduce him because I don't think anyone's ever done it yet.
No, that's the first time. I was pretty good. I'd give you like a 6-7 on.
Come on, 7. I'll take it.
All right, well, let's jump into it. So you hijacked the intro, so I don't know if I need to introduce you, but I'll try anyhow. So Nick, owner of Newlywed Cinema, right?
Yes, sir.
So you've been a rock star in the wedding industry for almost 10 years, right?
9 years full time, but yes, pretty much 10 years.
Okay, awesome. And just a cool guy to be around with. If you've never done a wedding with Nick, like he's pretty all right. So
Sus. I'm just kidding.
yeah, but I would love to back up. So again, you've been almost hitting a 10-year mark doing this professionally, but like, is that when you first picked up a camera, or you've been picking up cameras before then?
So full time, you're right. It's been 9 years.
Yeah.
But first time picking up a camera, I think we have a similar backstory. Didn't you used to make like short films and projects for yourself just for fun? When
That
you
was
were,
just like
a kid?
yesterday. No, yeah,
Not lies.
not so much as a kid, but yeah, once I started getting into high school, I was kind of like messing around with cameras and stuff. Yeah.
I feel like that's so many people's story, and it's so relatable because everybody had that old like dad handy cam where we could just, go out in the backyard and make our own little projects. I mean, I have probably 10 old Star Wars like themed, short films that'll never see the day of light, but they're so like
Wait till
kind of adorable.
We'll find them.
They're not online. You
Yeah.
can't find them online. I don't know if I can play them anymore because they're so like
Yeah.
the equipment is just so old, not
Yeah.
a date. But I started out making short films and projects of my own
Yeah.
with my dad's Handycam, like I said. And then any school project, like you kind of want to, speed up the years a little bit.
Yeah.
I would ask if I could, do a video for that project. And 9 times out of 10, the teacher was like, go for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, anything I could do with a video camera, I would do it. Like school projects, I'd ask girls to dances with,
Wait, what?
Yeah. So this is before YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So like now we're in 2025. Everybody can make a video on their phone and upload it to social media like that. It's just so much easier now. Back then it was harder. You had to upload it to like an editing software, right? Like I was using Premiere at the time, and it was so much more, I guess nostalgia is not the right word, but there was something more special about it.
Right.
Because it wasn't
attainable
accessible
to everyone. Yeah.
Right. So it was cooler. Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much it just kind of progressed from there. I didn't really know what I wanted to do once I got out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into junior college, and I took like every class imaginable, Travis. Yeah. And one of them happened to be an acting class. I thought it'd be an easy, like, extra credential or whatever.
Right.
And I got cast in my teacher's son's short film. He was going to DePaul at the time. And his like senior project was like, make a short film. I got cast in that as like the lead, leading man, whatever. And it was so fun to be on set. Like I didn't even care about the acting at all. I was so enamored with like all the equipment, the lighting, the dolly tracks he had. Like I just wanted to like, I knew as soon as that wrapped that I was going to be enrolling in like a video production class. Mm-hmm. So video was always like something I did just for fun.
Yeah.
I didn't think really about wanting to do it professionally until I got cast in that short film. And then after that, I took a video production class, and from there, I just did everything and anything I could until, weddings came about, and then that became my full-time job for, almost 10 years now.
So you said you went into pursuing school. Did you finish off school then?
I have an associate's degree in English. Yes.
Hey, English is important with shooting weddings, right? You have to know English.
It helps. It helps to learn another language too, because we're starting to get a lot more, especially Spanish. That's a big language right now.
Yeah.
So English at the moment, yes.
So like what kind of happened next? So, you said you've been at this for like 9 years. So were you trying to, like, how did you kind of get your start going? Like, were you shooting for other people? Were you freelancing? Did it kind of, you were kind of waiting and marinating on it? Like how, like what was kind of that next step once you kind of wrapped with that associate degree?
I wish I would have shot for a company.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the best move. So if there is a creative, if you're watching this right now and you're just starting out, I would highly recommend reaching out to somebody that's already established into the industry that you want to go into. So there's so many different industries that you can go into, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can go into weddings, you can go into corporate. What's another one that someone could go into? Sports, real estate.
Yeah.
Any of these industries that you're interested in, reach out to companies that are already in that industry. And just like young Chris over here, just cold email them, cold call them, slide into their DMs. Yeah. Just ask, hey, I'd love to work for you, offer to work for free, and see where it goes from there to test out and see if you actually want to work in that industry. Because I think we see the glitz and the glam on social media of these industries, and we're like, ooh, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
And then you get into it, and you're like, this really isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious, like, how did you get into weddings? I don't know if I know that story.
Yeah. As far as weddings, so quick summary, I started in animation, for those that don't know. Just kind of started freelancing. I thought I would just get a full-time job, like working for a studio, doing like animation work or something, but it's a grind. I mean, it's like you intern, they might bring you on to do some rotoscoping or some mundane work. And then you're kind of going from job to job, like you don't really know when your next job is going to come. So it's like they bring you on, you're doing 12-hour days, and then they let you go until they need you again. And I didn't really like doing that. So I was like, well, maybe I could film stuff. So I'd have like clients asking me like, hey, you did this animation project for us. Can you come film me in my office or something? And so I started doing that. And I was like, oh, this is way better. I get to go out in the world, meet the actual client, you know, get behind a camera. It was a lot cooler to me, especially the gear, you know, that's all cool. And so I don't know if I should say names. I guess I'll say names. Why not? Do you know Essence Photo and Video? They're based in the Chicago suburbs. Okay. They were hiring. It was like a Craigslist post. Shout out to Craigslist. I don't know if that's still around.
You want to talk Craigslist?
We might be dating ourselves now. So they were hiring. You needed no experience, no nothing. They provided the gear, which I didn't have a lot of gear at the time, so that was perfect. Sure. I went in. I was like a unicorn to them because they were usually just hiring whoever off the street. Like, oh, you want to learn how to use a camera? Come in. We'll pay you or whatever. Right. So I actually had some of a background. So they immediately started throwing weddings at me, like 2 or 3 weddings a weekend. I did that for like 2 years. I think I hit like 100 weddings in less than a year.
Whoa.
But it was super cookie cutter. Like it was like a camcorder. I wasn't really supposed to do a lot. Most of the time, I didn't even want prep captured. Like, it was like, put this on a tripod, put it in the middle of the aisle, and just don't even touch it. Like, that was kind of like their style. But while I was there, I would observe all the other vendors. I would kind of study, okay, this photographer is using a light over here. They're talking to the couple like this. That's kind of like how I learned weddings. Sure. And they would get a wide variety of cultured weddings. So, like, I was seeing Greek weddings, Italian weddings. So, I learned all these venues, like local, you know, kind of mid-sized venues very quickly. And so whenever I was like kind of getting bored of that after a couple years and I bought some of my own gear, that's when I started shooting my own weddings and got out there in the world and just put my own touch on it. And that's kind of when the business stuff started too, because it was like, oh, people are sending me money and they want contracts. I should probably figure out how to like operate an actual business instead of just whatever this is. So
right. Like your work is fantastic. Obviously, I've had the pleasure of shooting for Bellatiamo Films as an associate. And I think something that you do really well is you have a great mind for business. That's something that I've noticed in like all the work you put out. You know, you're always providing value to others. And it's because you've had so many years. When did you start your business again?
Technically, I got going 2011. The business officially started like 2014.
Man, like that's so much time you've had in the trenches.
Right.
But something I do want to mention real quick is that I've shot for Bellatiamo Films as an associate, but I've pretty much 90%, I would say 95% of the time, I'm working with Chris. Yeah. And you and I had never met in person. I wanted to bring this up, and I wanted to wait till we were on the podcast to mention this because I'd been shooting for, you know, under you or like as an associate on some weekends because I like making extra money. Yeah. And I'd never met you in person. I think we might have spoken on the phone once. Yeah. But otherwise, it was all via email.
Yeah, I actually I did some backtracking to actually figure this out. I was going to bring this up. We kind of skipped over since you hijacked the podcast.
I'm done.
No, you're good. But no, it's funny you bring this up because I did want to kind of circle back to it. So I was trying to remember. I think our first interaction might have been that wedding that Jason recommended me to come into for the live streaming.
Oh my god!
I think that was the very first time. And then from there, I think I started being like, oh, hey, you could shoot. But I actually saw you. You showed up in my algorithm, I think, before then, because you were making these YouTube videos of venues. Do you remember this? I think this is you, right? You were doing like walkthroughs with like a plan.
Oh yeah.
So
during COVID,
but I didn't actually put the two and two together for the longest time because it just showed up one day in like my feed. Like we weren't Facebook friends or anything. I don't know, maybe Jason had recommended it or something. But it showed up in my feed one time and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This guy's like doing something cool with marketing. And then and I think Jason had introduced us on that wedding. They needed a live stream.
Not to hijack you again, but just to put this out there, that was a Newlywed Cinema wedding, Chris and Mammoth, and they wanted someone to live stream their ceremony, and I think the rest of the bigger parts of the day as well. And you're right, he was the one. I brought him on as a third shooter because it was just a long day, and there's a lot going on. And South Asian weddings, they're insane,
moving parts,
right? So he recommended you, and then you're right. The first time that we actually met in person. I forgot about that. Holy smokes.
So there's some topics I thought you would be really good at. And I don't even know if you know that you're good at these things, but I've talked to Chris about this a few times. Like why I really like having you shoot weddings is there's a certain like natural charisma you bring to the wedding, whether you know it or not. And I don't know if it's your personality or if you've kind of trained those muscles essentially, but I always really appreciate your attitude. So I would love to just kind of hear like your background on that. Like, has that always kind of just been your attitude at weddings? Is that something you had to kind of train and learn? Like, I would love to just hear that from you.
The secret right here, coffee. No. So when I was starting out in weddings, it was the Wild West. I mean, I was fortunate like you to kind of get in with friends. I mean, I didn't work for a company starting out, but like my friends were getting married. So it was like an easy, they knew I was already like into video. And so it was a no brainer. Like, let's bring him on. He's way cheaper than, a video company. So that's kind of how I got, started with my friends' weddings. And it was great because they already knew me, right? Oh, sound. They already knew me. They felt comfortable with me. And I think when you put a camera in front of somebody, something about it, not a photo camera, but a video camera specifically. Yeah. Like with photos, there's something about photos that feel less intimidating for some reason. It's a quick snap, right? You're like, oh, I don't like that photo, get rid of it. But with video, you're not just getting that visual image, you're also getting the audio element too. There's a vulnerability with video that photo just doesn't have. Yeah. That's why when you do see a great photograph, you're kind of like, whoa, that was beautiful. Like something about it just, it does make you emotional. Yeah. But with video, if you do it right, I mean, the world is your oyster. You can move people in ways that you never thought you could.
It's really interesting what you're talking about because we just had an episode with Ronka, who's a photographer. She does portraiture. And she was talking about the same thing. Like as soon as like that person could be super comfortable with you, that camera comes up and all of a sudden they turn into a different person. They like maybe arch their back weird. They do this with their chin. They'll start doing weird things. And video takes that to like a whole nother level because you're getting the motion of that. Like the photo, you could kind of like work with them to get them to stop doing certain things, freeze them for a frame and grab the photo. Right. Video, you can't really do that. You know, they're constantly moving and they're their natural selves. Plus you have the sound element, like you were saying. So it almost becomes even more intimidating. And then you see some of these videographers, they show up with like 10 cameras and tripods and sliders and gimbals and all sorts of stuff. That's pretty intimidating. Like if you've never been captured. And I kind of make this joke a lot of times too, like the room will be quiet and like the bride's getting dressed and like her mom's in there and there's basically a paparazzi in there. And I always like, it gets quiet and everyone's like kind of awkward. I'm like, yeah, this is a normal occurrence, right? You get filmed every morning as you're getting dressed and brushing your teeth, and you know, and it kind of like, but it is true. It's like it's very weird if like you never like if you're not like an influencer or something or a celebrity, this never happens, and now all of a sudden you're just getting ready, and here's these cameras and people that you've like met maybe a few times, like
Right.
taking photos and videos of you. So it's weird. And so that barrier to be able to break that early on, I think is so important.
Oh, absolutely. You have to. Okay, so if you want to win the wedding day, this might be your title for the episode.
Win the wedding day.
How to win the wedding day. It is from that morning prep. That morning prep, it's the most chill time of the day, as you know.
Yeah.
That's the time that you win over everybody because it's like the only time you really get a chance to talk with the couple and the other, parties that are in a wedding, such as the, maid of honor, if we're talking about like bride prep or something, and the mother of the bride, if the dad's there,
those are
brothers.
in particular, like the parents, like making those relationships early on are, because otherwise they don't know who you are. And then by the time you leave that night, you didn't really leave an impact on them. But if you get in with the parents quickly, and I say, I'm not saying it like in a sleazy way, like it's more so like, like you're trying to befriend them just as much as the couple, because they're also going to be very crucial for that day because they know who people are, and now they go to you for a trusted source for
Absolutely.
things. It's very crucial.
And there's, you don't know the people. Most of the time we're showing up on the weddings and we don't know who the couple is personally.
Right.
We sent our questionnaire that, kind of goes into a little bit about what they like, what they don't like, and things about the wedding day.
Yeah.
But there are things that take place on the wedding day that we don't even know they're going to take place.
Yeah.
Had we not communicated early on with any of the wedding party or the parents, just to ask them, because they're crucial. Like they know what's going on. They know people and they have a relationship. So getting on their good side allows you into the club so you can also figure out, okay, I didn't know this about this situation.
Yeah.
Now it kind of changes your perception on how you're going to film things, right? We just did a wedding in Milwaukee, beautiful venue. It was like at an aquarium, really cool. And I didn't know that the grandmother of the groom, it was her birthday that day.
Yeah.
They didn't put that in the questionnaire. They put that grandma was important, but they didn't put that it was her birthday. And I had talked with the officiant, who's like best friends with the bride. Beforehand. I was just, chatting with her, and she mentioned that, and I'm like, oh, well, she's going to say something during the ceremony and kind of give the grandma a little shout out being her birthday and all. Knowing that information going into the ceremony, I was prepped, I was listening, and I was ready to get the reaction of grandma, because those genuine, real emotions, which I hope we touch on this, Travis, are like really what sell, you as a videographer.
Right.
Getting all the eye candy stuff is awesome, but if you're not capturing those real, genuine emotions on the wedding day, then it's, I don't know, you're missing out.
Yeah. You've been doing this for 9 years. How have you seen things shift in the wedding industry in those 9 years, especially like recently?
I know where you're going with this, Travis. I know exactly. You're teeing me up right now. You talk about it. For those of you who don't know, if you don't know what content creation is, it's essentially someone showing up with a phone or a tiny camera. Like I have a little Osmo 3. I love that thing. And you're just documenting what's happening. You're not really directing. You're not really now having that video cinematic, mindset like I do. I am trying to make the image look as good as possible, truly, but also staying out of the way. But yeah, wedding content creation is like this new addition to the wedding world that's been around for maybe like 5 years, would you say? Like it's relatively new.
Yeah. I think when I first started seeing it was like shortly after COVID. So it's probably been like 2021, 2022.
Okay. So
where it started really taking off.
You saw it much earlier than I did. I saw it.
Not to the level it is now. Like I saw like, okay, this person's an influencer and they got married and they brought someone with a phone to take, trending videos and stuff. But that was the extent of it. Now like regular people, quote, are like doing it as well. So
it's such a cool concept because as a photographer and videographer, you really are, how I like to differentiate the two. And I don't know if I've heard anybody say this before, but with wedding content creation, since you are just using like a phone or like a small camera with a fixed lens for the most part, like you're not swapping lens out like a videographer or photographer. So you kind of have that fixed lens, which you can do a digital zoom if you want to get like, technical. But otherwise, you're kind of just using the tool that you have in your hand, which is a phone. I love that.
Yeah.
because when I got into doing weddings, I loved, again, the more real, genuine emotion that was like taking place on the wedding day. And I feel like as a videographer, I was trying to make it look a certain way when I was kind of missing little moments here and there, mainly because the equipment's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But now with like these tiny cameras, you're able to get so much more and so much genuineness. Like there's little moments that take place that I never would have gotten as a videographer because, I'm focused on something else. But like with these phones, I can switch back and forth. Like for example, Sophia and Jacob's wedding, I was shooting morning prep with Emily, and the dad, bride's dad, walked in the door, and the groom like got pumped. He opened the door. It was like, hey, like I never would have gotten that. I think Emily did get it, but me knowing myself, I probably wouldn't have gotten that shot and that whole moment. And now they have it. It may not be the most cinematic looking piece of work, right? It's not going to win an Oscar or anything like that, but it's so genuine and so real that that's pretty much why I jumped ship from videography to content creation, because starting out, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to capture the real, genuine emotions.
Yeah.
And I think I got a little bit away from that throughout the years.
Kind of going off of that, and if you have a question, bookmark that because I'm happy to answer that.
Stored.
I've seen very poor uses of it, and you were the first time I actually saw it done properly. And like people were always like, "Oh, you're against content creation." I'm not against it. I'm for it if it's done the right way. Kind of like how the photo booth is not replacing the photographer, or like the 360 camera is not replacing the photo booth, like. Or the DJ is not replacing the band. Like you could have both if that's what you want. You could have one. You could decide to only do a content creator and not a videographer, or vice versa.
True.
But it's good to know that they serve different purposes. And I think if you want to become a content creator, you need to understand what your role is in the day of the wedding.
Right.
And I think a lot of them, they think like, oh, I'm the videographer now kind of thing. And they're trying to do the videographer stuff.
Sure.
I've even seen some content creators bringing drones now. And it's like,
I don't know why.
you're kind of stepping over the line of what you're supposed to do. You're not trying to make something cinematic and creative per se. It could be creative in its own ways. You're really trying to document the day.
Right.
Kind of going back to that traditional style of wedding videography that used to be what wedding video was. And I think you did that really well. And like when we work with you, you fit into the day like a guest versus feeling like another photographer was there or something.
Sure.
And I was actually joking to Chris the other day because the one that you did with us, I actually felt like you fit in with the wedding like guests more than the photographer did. Because going back to what we were talking about, he kind of perceived himself, it was the second shooter, he kind of perceived himself as kind of not wanting to be there. He was like a relative or something of the photographer. Might be saying too much when I get called out here. He was kind of like, I don't know, he just didn't seem like he wanted to be there. Every time he was in my shot, he looked kind of droopy, just staring at his camera, like not really interacting with people. Whereas you were in some of my shots, I actually didn't even notice for the longest time because you got a small device, you're wearing all black, you're smiling, and you're kind of standing with the guests versus standing out to the side on your own. So it just kind of looked like you were a wedding guest with their Osmo versus this photographer who every time he's in our shot, it was super obvious he's the wedding photographer because he's wearing a bright color and he doesn't look like he wants to be there. And he's not like with the crowd, he's against the crowd. So I think that's an important thing too. And like I was talking about, I had that bad experience with one content creator, same thing.
Shorts.
He didn't fit in, like he wasn't wearing the right attire, and he also didn't blend in with the wedding. Like he wasn't like a guest, like a fly on the wall. He was like shooting opposite of me and the photographer. So it's like, well, you're just going to be in the way and we're going to see you. So
this is how I kind of look at wedding content creation versus wedding videography. So again, going back to wedding videography, you're getting this polished heirloom piece where, and it's going to take a couple months to get it.
Unless it's us.
Unless it's you guys. That's true. Bellatiamo Films.
We beat the content creator to his own game.
Truly.
No, kidding.
No, I think you got, I mean, the same.
But that's still a different, I mean, and that's still a different thing. Like to me, that's not the polished finished product. It's like it's still kind of, I mean, it looks nice.
It does.
But it's still kind of a splash in the pan. Like it's not finished. You know? So.
It's so cool. I really do love that sandbag. It's insane to me. I'm like, I got to focus on one thing at a time, Travis.
And I might be derailing us a little bit. I want to talk about that too, because as a content creator as well, like you're not just shooting the couple, it is the whole day. And I think you did that really well too, is you did get some of the behind the scenes. Like it's almost like a curtain back, like a wedding video, like you kind of want to hide the imperfections. Like you don't really want them to remember that, you know, the cake was tilting over or whatever the problems were.
Right.
Whereas like with the content creation, you're kind of showing more how things were made. So like here's this beautiful slow-mo shot of the ring spinning. Well, now you have a shot of like how goofy it looks with like the photographer trying to spin the ring for the videographer and the other videographers moving the light or whatever, or like the decor getting set up. You know, it's like you see how they were particularly putting, you know, like they were putting the silverware here and there and the floral here and there. Like that's not really stuff we always get to film because there's other things going on, but you can get that. And I think that's like something some content creators miss, is they're just focusing on the bride and groom or the family. And it's like, really, you want to see the whole day of how it all came together.
And you can totally do that because you have a smaller piece of equipment with you where it's more nimble. It's like with a camera, like you're swinging that thing around. You got to get in focus. With a phone. You're just whipping to the right, whipping to the left. And you're able to get all of this. I guess it depends on your style too. Maybe you are a brand that likes to film, you know, the flowers getting hung up and stuff like that. But yeah, the content creator can definitely fill in those gaps for the companies that aren't getting those sorts of details.
If you want to become a content creator, you want to add it. I think don't go into it like I'm going to offer my services for free for a friend. I actually almost think you should reach out to a photographer or videographer or maybe not the planner because they might give you the wrong advice on certain things, but the photographer, the videographer, reach out and ask to just shadow them and get content of them. And you'll kind of understand the flow of the day, the hierarchy of the day, where you can go, where you can't go. I think that would be way more beneficial because, again, some of these content creators we worked with, it's their first time documenting a wedding as a content creator. And so instead of observing the day, they're trying to work really hard and they don't realize that they're like stepping on toes the whole day and they're getting in the way. Kind of like me, like when I started out with that company, it was very basic video. So once I had the basic video locked down, I could just kind of like observe everything. And that's how I kind of learned, okay, you do this, you don't do this. And I think a lot of content creators are coming in fresh off of making videos for restaurants or whatever, and now they're doing weddings, and it's like they don't understand how a wedding works and the flow of a wedding. So they're getting in the way of everyone. That's why everyone ends up hating them because they're just not doing it. Whereas for you, you have a background with weddings, so you understand, okay, I don't go over here because I'm going to be in Travis's shot. I don't go over here because I will be in the photographer's shot. I shouldn't, you know, block this person or block that person. I shouldn't go on the altar, you know, like things like that, you know. And I think that goes a long way. So what I would say is if you want to be a content creator, you should really shadow a photographer and videographer before you even ever shoot content for a wedding. And once you've kind of got those basics down, that's when you start doing the content.
I mean, that's a great piece of advice. I think a lot will probably try to go in offering their services for free just to build up that portfolio. But I mean, I have worked with a few content creators as a videographer, and I will say the ones that I've worked with, awesome. They understood the politics and they understood the flow of the wedding day. So like they were great to work with. What are your thoughts on wedding vendors bringing on a content creator for themselves to document
I think they should ask like before they do that, because that's the funny thing is, so that venue, I wanted to build a relationship with that venue. What I do every wedding, we make reels out of the stuff we shoot. So I'll try to find more raw moments and I'll turn that. And I even asked the venue, I'm like, hey, should I make one for your venue or whatever? And so like, I would have already done that for them. They didn't need to hire jean shorts to do that for them. I was already going to do that for them. But now I kind of like, I'm like, well, I don't want to work here. If it's like what happens every time I work here. So it kind of severed the relationship that they didn't even know that maybe it was forming. And so, so I have no problem with it. I think it's great. And I do understand why some people do it because to the venue's defense, I think a lot of photographers and videographers play hardball with sharing their content. And so they probably just assume, okay, this is a nicer wedding. Videographer's probably not going to share stuff. The photographer's probably not going to share stuff. I'm going to bring jean shorts and have him, you know, get content, where I was already planning on giving them content. So they didn't even need this guy to come. But I do think it's good to ask. You should ask everyone and not, I mean, And I mean, like everyone, you should ask like the DJ, the band, the photographer, videographer, whoever. If you're the planner, for example, like you should ask all of them because they might already be like, "Hey, I got your back." Like, don't hire someone else.
Sure.
Like, let me just do it for you.
Right.
Or they might say the opposite. They might be like, "Yeah, I don't do that stuff. You should probably hire them." And
Right.
I think it's good just to know that ahead of time
Right.
because it kind of that left like a bad taste in my mouth. It was like, "Oh, I want to work here. Like, I love to work here. I'm going to try to film some extra stuff for them." And then as soon as I saw him, I'm like, "Well, I don't want to work here anymore." So
yeah, I get it.
yeah.
And a lot of photographers and videographers have in their contracts that no one else can be, capturing the day. So you're right. It is better to ask in that situation. I've definitely seen venues, hire somebody outside to come in to just, grab photos and video for social, without, directly reaching out to the photographer, videographer. And I get, again, because, as the photographer, videographer after the wedding day, you're not really focused on trying to get, venues, footage or photos for them and their social media. You're kind of more focused on the client. So I understand why they would want to bring somebody in.
What I would say too is if, let's say a planner, you're a content creator, a planner reached out to you.
Yeah.
If they don't have that answer, I think you should ask because they're the planner. They should have all the contact. You should reach out and make sure it's okay. So I do that. Like we've had some DJs who want us, it's a little different, but we've had DJs who wanted us to come to just part of the reception and get footage of them.
Sure.
And I was like, well, what is a videographer thing? And they're like, oh, I haven't talked to the videographer yet. So I'm like, is there a planner? So I got the planner's information and then, I'm like, hey, can I get the videographer's information?
Yeah.
I messaged the videographer directly. I'm like, hey, is this cool with you if I come do this? And, most of the time, they're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because again, that's a little different where it's like, they might get some DJ, but they're focusing on the couple. Whereas like I'm getting like the DJ with the couple. So it's like, I'm not going to really be stepping on any toes. No. So I think as the content creator, if you don't have that answer from the vendor who who hired you, you should pursue that answer just to make sure, it's not going to upset anyone. So.
Right. And to kind of add on to that, I mean, content, social media is hot right now.
Yeah.
So for wedding vendors out there and pros, I think photos are fantastic, but that video element of, future couples seeing you actually working and interacting with other people is so powerful. Mm-hmm. And plus it shows, like, how many times have you listened to a podcast or had a conversation with a vendor on a wedding day and, the topic of, is a wedding planner worth it or not, right? Or you see this in like, videos online and stuff like that. Question is like, is a wedding planner worth it? Absolutely. A very good wedding planner is 100% worth it. They are going to truly just make the day seem effortless. And what a lot of wedding planners are still doing that I'm seeing is they're still just posting pretty photos from the wedding day.
Totally, yeah.
They're not showing them actually working. Some are, which is awesome. They're finally getting into it. We started doing that super early. Like I remember back in 2018, we were having an assistant just grab BTS of us, probably because we are the video team.
Yeah,
we have the gear, right?
Yeah, I remember. You get the venue, they reach out to you, and they think you were the photographer, and they're like, "Can we get photos of the decor?" And I'm like, "Well, Instagram's like a video platform. Don't you want video content?" And they like ghost you or something. They're like, they just want the photos, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like the video and the raw authenticness of what went into setting this up is like what the couple's looking for.
Right.
They've seen plenty of pretty photos. They understand you make a pretty venue.
Right.
They want to see how it all came together.
But it just makes you realize as a videographer and content creator how special what it is that you do. Because, I mean, in my opinion, if you can tell a story with one image, that's very impressive. And there are photographers that can do that, and it's incredible. With video, I mean, that's the hardest part about it, is being able to tell a story through these moving images.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why a lot of, venues and pros, they don't see the video clips very valuable, because what's the story?
Right.
But here's the thing. Same as a photograph tells a story, so can one clip.
Right.
I mean, again, we're circling back to the YouTube channel that you found where I was doing like venue tours.
Right.
So I teamed up with a wedding planner named Leanne Valdez. She's been in the business and industry for like 15, 17 years or something like that, a long time as a wedding planner. And during COVID, I mean, everybody was trying to find something to do. So we're like, let's make content for couples. And that's what we did for like a year. And most recently, though, I had the opportunity again, because I'm jumping ship from wedding video to wedding content creation. I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, do you have any weddings coming up? Because again, we already built that relationship. She trusts me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She knows how I am on a wedding day. So she had no problem bringing me on to some of her weddings where the couple didn't have a videographer.
Mm-hmm. So
it was like we were going to have video anyway, so it's kind of cool that you're here. But I also did shoot some with a videographer, so that was also awesome. I actually knew one of the videographers too, which was kind of fun. And what was cool about working with her, again, I know her. She's such a pro. Like, she is the definition of cool, calm, and collected. Like, I've never seen her break a sweat. It's kind of insane, actually. Like, I'm like, come on, like, you're human, right? It's incredible. But there's moments that just fall through the cracks that nobody ever sees unless you tell that story. I did get a chance to follow her around at one of these weddings and also create content for the couple as well. That was kind of like the deal. It was like, hey, he can come on and follow you around, but you know, he's also going to make you a little 60-second highlight. Yeah. So there was this moment right before the grand entrance, you know, when this is for, if you're not a wedding professional, the grand entrance into the reception hall is basically when the wedding party and the couple are lined up and the DJ announces, you know, each name individually, and then everybody walks in. So everyone's lining up for that. And Leanne's, you know, she's checking in on everyone, making sure everyone's there. And there was one ring bearer, little guy. He was like 4 or 5 or something. He was tiny. And there was 4 flower girls, and they were also tiny. And they're adorable. So she's kind of prepping them, like, okay, you guys know where to go, right? Like, you know where to walk through. You go to the dance floor. And the ring bearer was like, I don't know where I'm going. And she's like, no worries, I'll show you. And she genuinely, like, she's got a bunch of nephews, so like she's great with kids too. And she takes his hand and she walks him the path that she wants him to go for the grand entrance. And like, I was able to document that. That's something you would never see. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like, I have behind the scenes of him going the route that she had told him to go.
Yeah.
So those little moments, those speak volumes versus a photograph, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Seeing that, it was a big eye-opener for me. It made me realize, you know what? There's so many moments that are missed on these eventful days that I think we're doing a disservice to not only the couple, but to ourselves as a wedding pro.
According to Chris, this has been a vibe, but we do have to have this vibe come to an end. Yeah. So, Nick, I appreciate your time coming on here. This was a great conversation.
Pleasure.
Any last things you want to leave the viewers with? You can even just be like, hey, this is where you can find me.
Yeah, Travis will probably have all my handles down in the description if you want to check anything out. Typically, I don't add anybody on my personal unless I kind of know you, but you can follow the Newlywed Cinema account for sure. That's public for everybody. If you want to see wedding content creation.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're going to wrap it up now. We're both hungry, right? So we need to end this podcast. But thank you for joining us on this week's episode. And until next time, stay creative.